Warriors, Wizards, One Shot! Over at Kickstarter.com, the One Shot Podcast Network is currently funding the first season of The Dungeon Dome, an actual play experience that combines the style of professional wrestling with the storytelling power of Dungeons and Dragons. Performers will take on the roles of fantasy gladiators, battling it out in player versus player matches for wealth and glory. The Dungeon Dome will feature some of your favorite actual play performers, including Kat Cool of the Campaign Podcast, Mike Migdal of the Neo Scum, Pat O'Rourke of the Dungeon Rats Podcast, and Aram Farshin of God's Fall. But we can't make this project without your help, so head over to Kickstarter right now and look up The Dungeon Dome. $25 get you a seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Everything is Awesome is part of Courts and Parts, a podcast network featuring pop culture, TV, movie, and geek podcasts. Check out some of our other shows, like TV Ate My Brain, Let's Chat with Revelin Friends, and Podstalgic at courtsandparts.com.
Awesome. Just tell people they're awesome and mean it.
Awesome.
Awesome. Awesome.
Did you have an awesome time? Did you drink awesome shooters and listen to awesome music and then just sit around and soak up each other's awesomeness?
Awesome. 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 That was awesome. You guys are awesome. No, you're awesome. No, you are awesome.
Sir, you are awesome. Seriously.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Welcome to this week's edition of Everything is Awesome. I am your host, Kev, and this is the show where we sit down and talk to awesome people about awesome things. I am recording this one on the go. It's a solo episode. Every now and then I like to change it up. And usually it's because I forgot to book a guest. Though that is not the case this week. I'll get to what happened with this week's episode in just a moment here. Make sure you follow us on the Twitter at RealAwesomePod. You can follow me on Twitter at ThatNerdyKev. You can find us on awesomepodcast.com. We're part of the Core Temp Arts Podcast Network on coretemparts.com. Find us on Facebook if you're a Facebooker at facebook.com/RealAwesomePod. And, just, we're around. If you want to support this show, there's a couple ways you can do it. The most effort to the least amount of effort. Patreon.com/thatentertains. That is our Patreon page. I am about to redo some of the goals and rewards and all that fun stuff. And get a video recorded and stuff for it all, but it's a good way for you to support us. It's going to start off with a lot of us giving you more and more and more in the audio world. I really want to get into tabletop podcasting. I have a really great idea for our spin-off podcast. And to break it up into seasons so that it's not always the same, to change it up and whatnot. And Patreon will allow me to do that. And hopefully, we can get, just a couple dollars rolling in so that we can start doing more fun things and expanding our horizons a little bit here and there. Anyway, that's the most complicated one I know for a dopey podcast that just sits here and talks to other people. It might not be your bag to back financially. That's cool. I get it. And you can spread the good word by helping out with our iTunes reviews. Leave a 5-star iTunes comment. It helps with that iTunes math. It gets us higher and higher on the list of podcasts so that more eyes see us and more eyes and ears listen to us, and so forth and so on. And of course, you can just simply recommend us to a friend. Word of mouth recommendations. Word of mouth recommendations are just as good as all that. So if you can't do one but the other, if you can do them all, that'd be great. Really much appreciated. No matter what you do, thank you for being you. Thank you for being wonderful super friends. Love each and every single one of you. All right, on to what happened with episode 76 here. Episode 76, I was trying my best to get friend of the show, previous guest, James D'Amato on from the One Shot Podcast Network. and we had a time scheduled, and then I had to cancel because, unbeknownst to me, I already had plans to go to the local fair with the family. So had to reschedule because I wasn't confident I was going to get back in time for that. We scheduled a second time, but I try to sneak in late night interviews, and I snuck it by for a hot second with James, and then a couple minutes later he's like, "Wait a second, I can't do that late, you ass." So, and that's my words. I'm paraphrasing. He was way more kinder about it, and we just haven't been able to find a time since to sit down and talk. So I decided to use this episode as an opportunity to use my little stool to boast about all my friends out there that are doing the real creative work. We'll start with Mr. James D'Amato. You guys, I think that was way back in episode, I think it was like 57 or episode 58 that I sat down and chatted with James. And that was right around, I think, when he first did this little crazy idea called the Dungeon Dome. The Dungeon Dome was a series of tag team player versus player matches. I believe there were some singles exhibition matches, player versus player. And it is basically D&D except player versus player, which I don't hear too often, and it's like, I guess like Lord of the Rings wrestling, kind of, is like the best way to describe it. It's fantasy wrestling, and it's really good. I really enjoyed the episodes that I've watched thus far from that. Because I'm busy doing a million things, I haven't watched them all, but I did watch a couple of them, and they're super, super fun. It is a way to integrate, I think, a really neat, ingenious way to integrate video into a tabletop game like D&D. So that was, and as it turns out, that interview we did was actually too late for us to even promote that project that he was doing then. Well, James is back with the idea of producing, after the success of that Dungeon Dome or series that he did, to produce an official first season of the Dungeon Dome. And you can go to Kickstarter.com and just search the Dungeon Dome or One Shot. I'm sure you'll find it, or James D'Amato. But I implore you, if you're a fan of wrestling, if you're a fan of tabletop, you've heard me on this show talk with James D'Amato, with Jeff Stormer, with Jason Ashley. You've heard me talk with Hal Lublin about how wrestling can get tied to a lot of different worlds, including improv comedy, including podcasting, and including tabletop role-playing games. That they all have like this shared universe of having to be quick, having to be able to the ability to speak on a mic of some sort, and kind of be quick-witted, or just be able to hold a conversation and just chat your little mouths off. So it's kind of like a match made in heaven. That's why I love the series that Jeff Stormer does with his, and I'm getting the names wrong. I know one of them's a worldwide wrestling RPG, or something along those lines. But he does every year a WrestleMania special with Noah Houlihan. And they are fantastic. And there's a reason it works so well in both as a podcast and a tabletop podcast, because it's just all three of those elements, wrestling, podcasting, and role-playing games, are just genius rolled up into one another. So the Dungeon Dome is basically that. It's basically wrestling D&D. And I implore you to go check out the preview videos. Go watch the matches that have already been released, because they're all super good, super cool. I think if you're listening to this now, there is probably I think they're doing an exhibition match either tonight, Wednesday, or tomorrow, Thursday. So just, follow them on Twitter and Facebook to get the exact details of when their next exhibition match is. But this is like, here's the main reason I want you to go support this. This is James's push to be doing comedy and gaming and all that stuff full time. It's his opportunity to leave his day gig. Even if this was just a podcaster who I've never had on my show before, anyone that has that opportunity, I want to see them be able to take, because I haven't met a podcaster I don't like yet, and we all I think, if we had that opportunity, would love to seize that opportunity. But moreover, after talking with James on the show and in emails throughout the last couple months, I've grown to know the dude a little bit. I don't know him extremely well. We're not BFFs, but I consider him at least a friend, and he is someone that is just such a nice dude, and I think deserves to be able to say that this is his profession. There is not a nicer dude in podcasting and tabletop that I know right now. Sorry, Jeff. Sorry, Jason. You guys are very nice as well, but you don't have Kickstarters right now, if I'm being honest. But James, no, seriously, James just is such a swell dude, and if anyone deserves to succeed, it's this dude right here. So if you have a couple bucks, throw some money at it. I assure you, you will not be disappointed, because you're going to give this guy the ability to work 40 hours a week, if not more, knowing this dude's dedication to produce not only the great content we already get from him and the One Shot Podcast Network, but even more stuff like the Dungeon Dome and even more things. I wish I was able to sit down with James and get more into the details of the Dungeon Dome itself and wrestling, and more importantly, the importance that kind of wrestling and tabletop play with one another. Because this dude is a genius, and I would love to. We didn't really pick that stuff apart last time him and I spoke. We talked more about his podcast, his podcasting career, and kind of like game design. We didn't get into any of that other stuff. So please follow James on Twitter at OneShotRPG. You can look for the One Shot RPG Podcast Network on Facebook, and more importantly, go find that Kickstarter. He's doing good. He's been keeping on pace every single day. I love that to hear when he's doing well, and he's not that far away from hitting his goal. There's still plenty of time to attack it, and I implore you to go back and make sure you let him know on Twitter that I helped at that Nerdy Kev, because I want him back on my show when he's super successful. So James, good luck to you, buddy. I cannot wait to see what you have in store for this big bad world with your awesome talented work that you do. Another thing that I want to push a little bit, another thing I want to talk about, another friend or friends that are doing way more than I am, way more talented than I am. It's the rest of the Philadelphia podcasters here during the Philadelphia Podcast Fest. There's still another weekend of Philadelphia podcasts to come right at you. First weekend was super successful, and you got another weekend coming at you. I know that we got our buddies, our other Bucks County podcasting buddies, Nerds with Words, going on at Tattooed Mom. We got Full Belly Laughs going on at Tattooed Mom with Brian Durkin. He was a guest on my show, and he was hilarious. And we almost ran out of time, so I'm grateful that we were able to get him in and get him to do a couple minutes of stand-up. And I wish I had more time to talk to him, and I'm sure the growing relationship between Everything Is Awesome and Full Belly Laughs will continue to grow and whatnot. So hopefully y'all go check that out. we got this with Mark and Hal. After this episode in a couple days, you're going to listen to my interview with Hal Lublin from We Got This with Mark and Hal. What a terrific guy. I love when I talk to, the only time I get nervous sitting down to talk to people is when I sit down and talk to verified check marks. That's right. Hal Lublin is a verified dude on Twitter. That always makes me a little bit more nervous, and I'm always pleasantly surprised when these cats end up being super, super cool. He was so chill, and loved him, just talking to him about wrestling, about improv, about podcasting, and just like another local boy. He's not Bucks County, but he's from the greater Philadelphia area, Philadelphia Montco area, and he was able to sit down and give me about an hour of his time, give or take, and we had a wonderful conversation. Can't wait for you guys to hear it. So go check that one out at the Ruba Club. Tattooed Mom, Kitchen Talk Gallery, KTG Gallery, all these great venues for the last weekend of this year's Philadelphia Podcast Festival. So go check out all those people, because they all are super talented and being way creative, while I'm going to go kick my feet up in front of a fire on vacation. Last thing I want to chat about is actually my other guest I had on during my live show at the Philadelphia Podcast Festival, Noah Houlihan. I mentioned him earlier. He is a guy that I met a while ago during a I Like to Movie live event with my buddy Garrett. His podcast, and Dan Scully, their podcasts they do live events, once in a blue moon, and I met Noah there, and he was just a super funny dude, and I've been meaning to get him on my show since that moment, for such a long time, and I never knew how to broach him. I don't know, because he seems like he's super busy. He travels a lot for his podcast and for his comedy show. So it's kind of he's next level podcaster than me. So it was always kind of, I don't want to say intimidating, but always no man, I don't know if this guy wants to talk to me or not. So but he agreed to do the show. That was, it was so cool of him. He is also running a Kickstarter. So I know I'm asking you to throw money at a lot of people, myself included. Let's, if you can, I'm last on that list. If you can afford to send me some stuff on that list, fantastic. If not, then, I want you to support these guys first. James and Noah here. Noah is doing a Kickstarter for a YouTube series called Game the Gamer. And oh my God, the pilot's up on YouTube, and he has it embedded right there on the Kickstarter. It's a fascinating watch. He's done the show live at a couple conventions like Wizard World Philly and DexCon and a whole bunch of fun places. And he put himself through some torture during the live podcast that we did. He hooked himself to an electro thing that shocks you, and people paid money to see him do it. I'm so happy that he got some money during that. But just Google Game the Gamer or go to Kickstarter.com and search for Game the Gamer. Noah Houlihan, and Game the Gamer elevator pitch. This is what I did during my show. The elevator pitch for this is simple. It is a contestant-based game show, which I guess all game shows are, but there's 4 players. They each get $100, and there's auctions to get things that either aid you or you can use to sabotage the other players while you play games. For instance, maybe you're playing Mario Kart and you bid on a controller that has a broken Z button, so that button can no longer fire any kind of weapons that you would get in the Mario Kart world. So you bid on that and you end up winning it for $10, and you give that controller to whoever you want. And that's their handicap. Maybe there's a wrestling mask or some sort of mask involved that you poke holes through that are uneven, so you barely see the TV screen. Maybe you get hooked up to this electroshock therapy thing, and you get electrocuted throughout the course of the video game. It is such a fascinating, such a fun show. I don't know. There's no words really to describe it besides that. You have to go to Kickstarter and look at it. I'm really excited for it. And after sitting down and talking with Noah more about it and seeing what else and he has planned for it, such an amazing thing. We also talked wrestling because he's a wrestler and he loves wrestling. So we were able to chat with him about some cosplay wrestling, which is a thing out in this area. I still need to wrap my head around it. I've talked to Jeff Stormer about it. Now I've talked to Noah and I've done my own research, and I can't wait to sit down. I actually want to sit down with the guys who run it to like just fully dive in and discuss cosplay wrestling, because I'm not a cosplayer. It's just not. I'm not good at doing the whole dressing up thing, but I love cosplay. I love wrestling. And I really love this idea. So Noah's got his thumb on the pulse. His finger. He's doing something with that pulse, and it's good. It's all good. So this is a quick little update because I couldn't get James on the horn here, and I wanted to kind of get something out about the Dungeon Dome, as well as, because I don't know when the live episode's actually going to go up, I wanted to get something out about Game the Gamer as well. So please, 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 if you're going to do anything this week, go check out Kickstarter. There's a ton of great indie developers out there doing some cool indie projects out there. I'm sure everyone knows what a Kickstarter is now. And you know what? If you like wrestling, you like tabletop, any of those two combinations, you're going to love the Dungeon Dome. If you love video games, if you love game shows, if you love contestants where that do battle against one another, you're gonna love Game the Gamer. So, like I said, go watch that first episode and go watch the Dungeon Dome episode just so you get the full effect of what I'm talking about here, because my words do nothing any justice. You need to see it for yourself. And if throw a couple dollars, and if you can't afford that, then just share it with everyone you know. Everything helps, whether you're throwing money at it and sharing it or just sharing it. Everything helps. And it would mean a lot to me. You guys show a lot of support for me when I do this dopey show, just by listening and downloading. Numbers don't lie. Even when I forget to post, you guys come back and download still. So it's pretty amazing, and I'm hoping that maybe you guys can show that love to some friends of ours who all deserve it. So that's all I got for this week. We got some more stuff. I gotta, by the time August rolls around, I think we're gonna be finally caught up with where we should be at with our episodes of Everything is Awesome and the That's Entertainment Podcast Network. We are going to be starting to book our next show. That's the thing. The only thing I didn't get to do for my Podcast Fest show was I didn't have another show available to plug because I didn't get one booked in time. But there's going to be news about that. There's going to be news about the next one. And I think it's going to be in Bucks County. Spoilers alert! It's not going to be in the Philly. It's going to be our first suburban show. So more on that. I'm already starting to. I'm planning that one. I'm planning what I hope to be the one after that, which is in November as part of PAX Unplugged. And I'm also planning. I'm planning our big January Podiversary event. And it sounds like we are officially on board with Fuck Cancer again. So that's exciting. That was the first piece I wanted to get figured out this year instead of the last piece. So stay tuned to hear more about that. That's a big one. That's going to be like a mini podcast festival, the second annual Everything is Awesome Fuck Cancer Podiversary show. So I'm really excited about that one, of course, and as well as all these other ones that we're booking up here. Hey, you know what? my mouth is dry. That's all I got for you. So go, please check out the Dungeon Dome and Game the Gamer on Kickstarter to go support some very talented friends of mine. They're doing the good work when it comes to being creative. Go check out the Philadelphia Podcast Festival. If you want to find a show that you want to look at and you want to see the rest of the schedule, phillypodfest.com/schedule. I'm telling you now, though, you do not want to miss Full Belly Laughs, Nerds with Words, We Got This with Mark and Hal, Twisted Philly. There's just so many that I think there's 14 more shows at Tattooed Moms this weekend. There's shows at the Rubik Club. There's shows at Kitchen Table Gallery. Jeff's going there with his other show, All My Fantasy Children. So it's going to be a good time. Go, check it out. Kickstarter, Philadelphia Podcast Festival. It's all good. Make sure you follow this show on the Twitter at Real Awesome Pod. If you want to, get direct interaction with me, you can hit me up on Twitter at ThatNerdyKev. You can also follow us on Facebook.com/Real Awesome Pod. If you want to support us, you can do it one of three ways. Patreon.com/ThatEntertains. Y'all know what Patreon does. We give you crap early, or we give you unique crap, and you pledge a little bit of money to us. And that's not crap. It's all good. It's good crap. It's the crap that you want to smear all over your face. And make sure you check us out. Support us by leaving iTunes reviews, 5-star written reviews. Help get the word out for us. And of course, you can just use your word of mouth recommendations to your friends and family, because that would be awesome. Okay, that's all I got. You can find us on awesomepodcast.com, coretemparts.com as part of the Core Temp Arts Podcast Network. For Everything is Awesome, I'm Kev, and you've been listening to us right here on awesomepodcast.com. We've been awesome!
Thank you for listening to the Core Temp Arts Podcast Network. To listen to more Core Temp Arts shows, visit coretemparts.com.